All right, welcome back. Now we're going to take a look at this pattern of circles here. We're going to see if we can continue this pattern. But first we need to figure out what's changing between each of these shapes. So let's look. How would you describe it? How does the pattern change as you go from one figure to the next? Let's figure this out. Well, I see figure 1 has 1 circle. In figure 2, I see 4 circles. Figure 3, I see 9 circles. How is that changing? What do you notice as a change? Well, I see that from figure 1 to figure 2, the number of rows increased by 1 and the number of columns increased by 1. Let's see if that's really our pattern, and we'll know that that's true by checking the next figure. So how did figure 2 change to be figure 3? Well, again, we added a row and we added a column. So we've just found our pattern. So now what you're going to do is you're going to draw what would, I'll write it right here, what would the 5th figure look like? What would the 5th figure look like? Pause the video and you can either draw it in your journal, draw it on a piece of scratch paper, however you want to do it, and draw what the 5th figure would look like. We're going to come back and talk about it. So based on the pattern that we discovered, our 5th figure should have 5 columns and 5 rows, right? Because here our 4th figure has 4 columns and 4 rows, and we know that the change between each figure is increasing 1 column and 1 row. So I'm going to draw that. Here is my figure, and obviously my circles aren't perfect, but I know that I have 5 rows and 5 columns, so I'm continuing that pattern. So we actually can describe this pattern using numbers, just as we did before. So I'm looking at the number of circles in each of these figures, and let's write those down. Okay, so here, my first figure, I'm actually going to write it at the top. My first figure has 1 circle. My second figure has 4. My third figure has 3 rows, 3 columns, so that's 9. My fourth is 4 by 4, right? So that's 16. And my 5th figure here is a 5 by 5, which is 25. So now I've figured out a way to describe this pattern with numbers, which makes it much easier as I continue on rather than having to continue drawing all these circles. So I can actually use multiplication as well. So I'm going to type that down here. And I know that my first figure is a 1 by 1, right? My second figure is a 2 by 2. My third figure is a 3 by 3. My fourth figure is a 4 by 4. And my 5th figure is a 5 by 5. So I'm using multiplication because essentially this is an array, right? I see the second figure, I see 2 rows, 2 columns. 2 times 2 is 4. Third figure is 3 times 3 is 9, and so on. So you can use this pattern, this number pattern, to figure out what additional figures would be. So let me ask you this. What would the 7th figure look like? What would the 7th figure look like? I want you to write down a multiplication equation, or you can write down how many circles would be in the 7th figure. Did you say 49? I hope so, right? Because our 7th figure would be 7 rows and 7 columns, which 7 times 7 is 49. Excellent. You're going to use this pattern and you're now going to find the 10th figure or the 10th number in this pattern. Okay, so how many of these circles would be in the 10th figure?